Hello everybody. So with my kit I included some arcade buttons. I like larger buttons because my fingers, first of all, I don't like handling those little tiny buttons, and those little tiny buttons are just a pain, I think. um, I don't like the ones that have four prongs on them because it really confuses people. These have two, so it's pretty much hook a wire to each one, right? So that's what we're going to do. Now you're going to need two different wires, or possibly only one set of wires. Now I'm going to use neopixels as what this is triggering, a change in the neopixels. So my neopixels need the alligator to socket, which these would also need. And I didn't include enough to do both of them, right? But I did include some alligator to pin. So we got some gator to pin, and we also I have some socket to socket. So you can just kind of use these together to hook up the button. Ta-da! Now there are actually two different ways to do the button because pin press, because the code in makecode. So first we're going to go with pin 0, 1, or 2. And that has a special way to do it. So I got one going to signal and one going to voltage. I'm also going to plug my neopixels into, make sure I got the right colors here, going to pin 14. So I got, get you out of the way. I'm going to pin 14 with these guys. These puppies. Power. Boom, boom, boom. Alrighty. So I've got a button onto pin 0, and this way works on 0, 1, or 2. And then some neopixels on, where you at? Pin 14. Okay? So now let's go over to code and plug our microbit in. And then again, we've got the Wukong board. Now we don't actually need the Wukong extension for what I'm going to show you, but it brings in the NeoPixel extension, which we do need the NeoPixels because I'm using NeoPixels. Just do the buttons. You don't need the Wukong expansion. All right, so we're going to set, let's go again. We're going to call that board because on the board are 4 neopixels on pin 16. And also we added, so I just copy and pasted that, and we're going to call that strip. And it's on pin 14. And there are 5. Now something I think with these, we have to switch the format for the coloring. Okay. And what do we want to do on start? We want to have the board show, a blue. This is kind of like, hey, is my program running? But we're going to have the neopixels, the strip, show rainbow, and there is a show rainbow. Not that you really get a rainbow on only 5 neopixels. All right, so let's go with let's use button A also. And on button A, I'm going to ask it to show a color. And I don't know, let's make the strip show, let's go blue. And now let's give that a pause. There we go. Let's have that at least pause for at least show for at least a second before something else happens. And now here's one of the neat things. On pin press, Whoa, I don't think we need to do that to me. On pin press, and pin press works for 0, 1, or 2. So if I plug into 0, 1, or 2, this works. And I have to connect the wires to voltage and signal, not to ground. We're going to make a different thing happen. We're going to make it show red. Oh, red's up top. And yes, we're going to pause, right? If I don't have anything else happening, that really doesn't matter, right? So, and if I never change them, whatever's the last button should actually be the one that's always showing, right? So I'm going to download. I'm going to go back to webcam, come back over here, turn on, and we've got a rainbow going there. Then if I press A, we should get a color. And then if I press my button, we should get red. Did I not? Oh, there we go. And that's the thing I find with buttons is when is it actually triggering? When is it catching the button in the code? When is it running through that line of code to C? Again, there's A. Again, we have a pause in there for a second, so I can't press this for at least a second. Or maybe I'm just too anxious, too impatient. Boom. Okay, so give it a second, and then I'm going to press. It's like sometimes it's not catching when I press. I don't know what's happening with that, and that's just kind of the thing with buttons that I've found sometimes. I don't know why. You know, that button A works pretty quick. 1000, right? Press B, press this button, and it doesn't seem to want to catch it. And I'm never sure why, because it eventually does. Like, if I press it twice, it does it. I don't know what's up. So there's a, whoa. So I think it just, yeah. See how it's not going, didn't go, because I got all these button presses, boom, boom. So, timing is a thing to figure out with buttons. So, now, here I said there's others. So that's using 0, 1, and 2. Now, let us plug it into some other pin besides 0, 1, and 2. And I'm just going to go to 15 because it's out here. And I'm going to go into the voltage. I'm basically going to do the same exact thing, right? Make sure we're plugged in, make sure we're there. Let's come over to the code. But here's what I'm going to do. In the forever, I am going to use an if. Use the logic. Use if. If button press, and buttons are down here. If pin press. If digital read pin 0 pin is, and I need some logic. And now, what am I doing? I plugged it into voltage, right? I don't need that anymore. So that should go high when I press it, right? So 1. But here's something we got to do. Pins can sometimes float between 0 and 1, which isn't always good. So we need to set it. And we need to tell it what it is. Boom. And we're going to set it to low. Down. That way when it reads 1, because I'm connecting it to the voltage, it'll actually trigger. But I'm not on 0, I'm on 15. Yep, I'm on 15. If that happens, show red. And then, you know, sometimes it's always nice to have an else. If I never press it, what should it do? I don't know. Violet? Sounds good, right? And then this should just loop, right? two interesting things I found. One, this overrides the button A press for some reason. And back again, the second thing is, when does it trigger? When does it read this? Because it runs through a line of code really quickly. So it's going to run through this really quick. So let's grab the microbit. So it's just a matter, sometimes, again, matter of timing. When does it get the timing? I can put a pause here. Can always do that. Don't really, well, who knows if I need a pause, right? It's only 1 second. So it's not going to come out of that. It's always going to go here, sit for a second, come out, come back again. Set it down. Okay. Let's go. Back to camera. And turn on. We got the violet kind of thing. If I press A, we get blue and it quickly goes back. Which, even though I had a 1 second pause there, right? I'm surprised it goes back. So I'm surprised it's even going to blue. Because I could, for a while, I couldn't even get it to go to blue. But yeah, it's quick. It's like when that button's pressed. All right, now let's see what happens. Please change color. Red. 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 See, I'm pressing. But it's kind of, I think the holding is letting it come back through the loop to get back to that line of code. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. There was, I could set it low and trigger when high, or I could change this over to ground. And do the opposite, right? Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to plug you in. And instead of setting my pin down, I'm going to set my pin up. And if it reads 0, which it's not 9, 0, it should switch because that's it's connected to ground. Right? All right, download. Oh, what happened? Why is it not connected? Sometimes it does that to me. So I gotta go back through pairing. All right, now let's see. Boom, there we go. Now it's the screen showing it's downloading to the microbit directly instead of to the computer. Plug you in. I'll come back. I'll switch the camera. Yeah. Switch back to camera. Alrighty, so I've got these. Let's turn you on. Went quickly to violet. Again, I didn't change the A button. All I did was change how the B was going to trigger. That B is now plugged in, that the button is now plugged into ground and signal. So that's connecting a button. You got 2 of them, use them to trigger something. That's the whole point, right? Enjoy.